meeting to order. One thing before this meeting gets started, we're gonna have to be very vigilant of the weather. The last place where I wanna be is this prefab building, and we can't miss the deal, cause the tornado sirens right outside the door here. So we'll watch everything. Jill's got the radar up right now, and we'll go from there. Okay, call to order. We'll say the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Bob Crecilius.
Here.
Travis Dunlap.
Present.
Jim Meeks.
Here.
Timothy Meunier.
Here.
Bernie Paparad.
Communication bills and expenditures. Joe, do you have anything?
Nope.
Mr. Pat? Nothing, sir. Nothing? All right. Report of officers, committee and staff. We're gonna do minutes. Okay, we will do the minutes. I'm trying to get out of here. All right. You have the minutes?
I move that we approve the minutes.
Sorry. I have a motion and a second. Roll call, Joe?
Travis Dunlap.
Yes.
Bob Crecilius.
Yes.
Jim Meeks.
Yes.
Timothy Meunier.
Yes.
Bernie Paparad.
Yes. All right, now we're on the report of officers, committee and staff. Anything wrong? Nothing. All right. All right, we're gonna have a public hearing for CIT Trucks LLC, 1171 Lions Drive. First of all, we're gonna have them explain what they wanna do and everything, and then we'll open it up to the public for their comment. And we'll do it in two sections, those that are opposed and those that are favorable. And you could go either way. If you might be, just have some stuff, we'll go from there. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Greg Babcock. And tonight I'm with Dan Mitchell. Dan Mitchell, the CFO of CIT Trucks LLC. You normally see Eric Meyer, but he's in Florida attending a wedding, so he couldn't make it this evening. I got a kind of a handout. Instead of trying to do an overhead, we went ahead and put it in kind of picture format so that when Dan gets a chance to make his presentation. Apologies, guys. One for Clay and one for Jim. Sorry. This is for you.
Thank you.
So what it is kind
That's
of,
all you have?
yeah, that's right.
One of us will do. If you guys wanna come and look
Oh,
at this.
sure.
Here you go. It's fine. You're welcome.
All right,
I gave her mine.
okay, everybody, I just wanted to make sure you knew what was going on. Sure, thank you. All right.
So just a little background, if you're aware, CIT Trucks, almost 2 years ago, bought the parcel that's vacant immediately east of the piece we're looking at, the Lazy Days, or I may call it Campland, facility. Spent about a year working with the Army Corps of Engineers defining the wetland area. It's finally been defined. About 11 to 12 acres of usable ground. They have gone ahead and taken trees down, and they're gonna be in the process here soon of letting a bid to do the excavation. The only reason I tell you that, because that, when we were here the very first time, was kind of their entry into Burns Harbor, what they do from that perspective there. Then this piece comes for sale after they've committed the investment will go for $7 million on the parcel that's going to be developed. With that background, I'm going to have Dan kind of walk you through the material there from that perspective. So introduce yourself, give your address.
Evening, Dan Mitchell, 505 Ironwood Country Club Drive, Normal, Illinois, 61769. Been with CIT for 15 years. I was here initially when we first look to talk to you folks about the first property. One thing about that, before I talk about this campground RV property that we're looking to help on, is we purchased the walls, we purchased the steel. It's just a matter now of getting a bid for groundwork, and we've already invested written checks for about $3.5 million. So that new dealership, that 50,000 foot dealership next to the pilot is a go. So it'll probably be, we just talked to our builder today, probably February next year, realistically, is what we're looking at from the timeframe. Talking a little bit about CIT here, and I'm trying to go fast just in the interest of time. We've been in business since 49 years now, 33 under the current ownership. There's 3 individual owners that all work every day at the CIT. We've got 19 now separate operations. We're actually the largest dealership in Illinois in terms of employee count. When you look at franchise dealerships, 870 employees. As we state here, $738 million in sales and $246 million in assets. Something specific to us within North America and Kenworth dealers across North America. We're #1 in dealer customer service, and second as a rank in financial operations, and 5th in terms of new truck sales volume. We have about 7/8 of Illinois assigned to us, half of Missouri, and 3 counties in Indiana as our territory. So moving on to the project overview, what we're looking to do is take that RV building and again, convert it to a retrofit into a body shop. Business hours we have would be 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. We don't typically work Saturdays, but there may be on occasion a need to do that, and that would be a 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. shift. We intend on putting at least $1 million to retrofit it and make it work for us as in the new body shop needs. Ultimately, we see 30 to 35 jobs being created. These are, by the way, very high-paying jobs, industry-leading benefits, 401k. We partner with local area schools, training centers, universities, provide apprenticeships, high schools, graduates, or those type of folks as well. We definitely support local charities and baseball teams, and those type of things, sponsorships, youth programs. We generate some tax revenue. Beyond that, there'll be some ancillary, revenue to be generated from housing, transportation, motels, that sort of thing from our customers. Sort of moving on to what I have, and I apologize if I'm not tracking right with you. I have CIT dealership here, and it says at the very top, body shop in the rear. This is a picture of our initial CIT location. This is location 1 in Roanoke, Illinois. What you see here is our full service dealership, and that's what we're going to build next to the pilot. And then back here in the rear is the body shop. So this is just, we wanted to give you a visual from a drone view. The body shop, we got a better view of it here. CIT normal Illinois body shop. This is from the east, and this basically kind of just shows you how we park the finished vehicles out here to the east. We have our bays, our paintings inside the building here, and just to kind of give you an idea of the organization and professionalism and cleanliness we like to maintain our facilities at. The next slide here is a normal body shop, and this is looking at from the north. And this will show you trucks that are waiting to get into the shop. We do heavy duty and medium duty trucks. That's virtually all we do in terms of our body shop work. We don't get hardly into trailers or yellow iron or anything like that. Generally, or automobiles for that matter. It's just medium and heavy duty trucks. And you can kind of see how we have those trucks staged out on the north side of the building, waiting to be in, and how that's organized. So we want to point that out as well. This one again is from the north, but it also shows different parts and hoods and different things, and that go along with it. So as components come off that are otherwise marketable, and we can put it on a different vehicle, we sort of store them off to the side of the building. And this visual here is just to show you how we have that organized and setup. And this would be, and, the RV dealership, this would be just behind in the south, facing 20 and Pennsylvania. Around here, you can see just some interior photos of the CIT body shop in Louisville. And the idea here is just to show you our cleanliness and professionalism that we have. Hopefully that's the takeaway. Our body shop, this is our paint booth here. This is our newest paint booth here. This would be very similar to what we did in Santa Cruz at our dealership. Not a homemade contraption by any means. This is CIT Peru. This is our second of 3 current body shops that we have. And this is what it looks like. The body shop is going to be over here along the dealership side. So it's actually attached to the dealership. This is a different type of body shop, a side draft body shop. And this is what their body shop looks like. Or she did a paint booth. And this is the interior of that very same paint booth. So for us, the main departments of a truck dealership are new and used truck sales, parts, mechanical service, and body shop. And we have the 4 with the building that we're gonna build. We're gonna be able to house new and used truck sales, parts, and service in the building that we're gonna build, that 50,000 square foot building. And this will sort of complement all those different departments, allow us to have our typical and ideal situation where we have a body shop to give us sort of a one-stop shop offering to our customers. This is just another additional look at our CIT Peru body shop, just to give you an idea of what you're looking at, and how we're organized with people and clean. And lastly, these are just some names of some major customers that we have that we've done a lot of business with for a long time.
So a couple of things, we had questions about the paint booth, and then those are vendors that create them. They do have to pass the EPA filtering situation when you're doing the actual paint spraying. When you look at those paint mixing rooms, those have got to pass the International Fire Code in order. That's how they sell them from that perspective. They actually install them in that setting. Some things that you remembered our request, one was to allow that particular building to change its use. So remember, the building was built in '98. You did a new zoning ordinance in 2010. 98, considered a C2 use, okay? In 2010, in essence, becomes legal non-conforming because that area becomes what you call RC2, combination of residences and commercial activities that would benefit a neighborhood from that perspective. It's my belief that reusing that particular industrial building is what would make the most sense to actually build that here in Burns Harbor ground up. The only place that you'd have it is your SD1, which is the Metalhead Steel property. That's where you would find it in your now table of uses from that perspective there. One of the requests that we had is if we get the opportunity, we'd like to be able to take parts and service, put it into this building to start while the new building is being built. And then I've got a condition in there that would say that if you're allowed to do that, within 30 days after the occupancy permit in the new building, they shift parts and service, in essence, across that parking lot into the new building from that perspective. One thought would be, and again, this is from a business perspective, you get an opportunity to say to everybody, guess what? We're coming. We could offer this service right now. We're gonna have full services when this new building is built. So it's an opportunity from a business perspective to get people to know that CIT is here. I think right now, they were telling me that parts that they're distributing are coming out of Mokina to distribute to these areas here that need Kenworth parts from that perspective there. And gives them a chance to centralize it here. And again, as Dan said, kind of that one-stop shop. Opportunity came up, It wasn't planned, but it's available from that perspective there. One of the concerns we had at last month's meeting was trying to know that those semis that are gonna be worked on, we were looking at putting that 8-foot privacy fence across the entire front of the lot. I chose about 200 feet deep. There's about 900 feet in that parcel. There's 2 parcels. One that houses the building, not counting that, this is in front of that building going to US 20. We thought 200 feet off that road gives us that screening effect that I think some of the board members were looking for from that perspective there. Some things that are kind of exciting, if you look at the findings, we talk about dollars per hour with $30 an hour scale to a $44 an hour scale, but the whole time full benefits as you would be a member of CIT. The other thing that Eric pointed out is that this particular function belongs to CIT. In other words, this isn't a third party, this is their company, their division. Sometimes people get nervous that you're farming that activity out, you might lose control of it. Some other things to remember, any of the paint that's unused is collected, and then Safety Clean comes in and picks it up from that perspective there. The other thing is, there may be some salvageable parts that we can resell back to the scrap dealer that we use out of Wisconsin. They do that in the 2 other facilities. Our job would then be to keep them in good order, sell them, they come and pick it up from that perspective there. So the whole idea is, if you saw how clean those are, and those are our pictures, so I know that, but that's the kind of service that they run from that perspective there. The other thing with that temporary use does give us a chance to at least put out a notice that we're going to be hiring people for that, as well as the big building when it comes into play. So those are some of the business reasons that we're looking for the temporary use from that perspective there. We thought that 30 days would be more than adequate to move all the material, equipment, computer, etc., basically across the asphalt parking lot to the new building. So I'd ask you to consider the uniqueness here. The new zoning doesn't lend that building to much activity. We ask you to give us the use variance, not a rezone, but a use variance to allow us to go forward with the use that we've indicated there. We'd ask that you add any questions we have, Dan should be able to answer, and we thank you very much.
All right. Before we open the public hearing, Jill, is everything ready? The green cards are all
Yep.
out. Everybody got their card in the mail. That's why you're here.
So I will say that Attorney Babcock called me yesterday and they realized just yesterday that inadvertently there was one neighboring property owner that did not have the certified mail sent to Attorney Babcock and staff. It's made diligent effort to track that property owner down, to notify them. It's my understanding it's a property that's just to the west that is somewhat dilapidated property with a bunch of semis and car parts stored. I think the property owner, is it in Florida?
If I
St.
could,
Petersburg.
if I could on that, the property owner is called Lisco Inc. It's out of St. Petersburg, Florida. We did our best to try to find a phone number. We think the people's names are Brown that live in this particular condo in St. Petersburg. When we looked up Lisco, we found out that it had been Brown Code, went to Lisco, had been dissolved, reinstituted itself in Florida, and the president is now Scott Brown. When we did our research, it sounds like it might be the son of the 2 older members. Reached out to his business in Fort Wayne, called him 3 straight times, no response from that perspective. What I talked to Clay about would be, we've put notice in the newspaper, posted it here, sent notices to all the neighbors but that one. I'd ask you to consider this evening, if you're favorable in granting that use, we would send another certified mailing indicating that we held a meeting, that any remonstrator within 300 feet, okay, has a right, after a board finding, BZA board finding, if they're in disagreement, you can file a notice with the circuit court here in Porter County if you want to challenge the outcome from that perspective. And so I've got that material inside this letter as well as the original letter that I sent. We'll send it back to St. Petersburg. That's the best that I can offer.
Is that okay with you, Frank?
It's fine with me, but it's fine with the board. I think that it's just an inadvertent, I think the envelope got stuck in a
Yeah.
file and it was found just yesterday. And I think that Attorney Babcock is correct. Anybody who's not happy, whether they're here or not, anybody who's not happy with the decision of this board, they have 30 days to file action with the circuit court here in Porter County. So, I think that notify them of this hearing, or whatever decision is made. I would just, request, that, and ask Mr. Babcock to have that sent to the board. And if you just want to, email me a copy or email Jill so we can get that
Right.
circulate, whatever letter you send out.
I'll get you the letter, but I'll also then get you the white ticket that Jill knows shows you sent it.
Yeah,
We got 3 or 4 of them back, nobody picked them up.
yeah.
So either that whole envelope comes back or we'll get the green card to come back, we'll make that part of your record from that perspective.
You guys okay with that? I think that works out good for everybody. Okay, we're gonna open the public hearing now. What happens here? The first one we're gonna do in favor. And what you need to do, stand up, state your name and everything so we can record it in there. Say what you have to say, and please don't everybody keep saying the same thing down the line. If we got a point being made, that's it and everything. And another thing I wanna ask, you talk to the board and we'll get it figured out here, okay?
Okay.
All right.
What if we don't know what we're in favor of yet, but just have
If
questions?
That really doesn't matter. You can go either way,
Okay,
but we'll,
If you have questions,
yeah,
you can ask the board and they can help answer, seek it. and
yeah,
answer.
we have the people to answer your questions here. And we went through quite a bit of this stuff already, before, if you read in the minutes. We were talking about what they can do in the front towards 94, what they can do in the back. I consider it back towards 20. And if you look at the pictures, whatever. So, all right, here is public hearing open to people in favor.
Okay, hi, I am Lindsay Cassidy, I live, I'm sorry. Hi. I'm Lindsay Cassidy, I live at 276 Lake Park Road in Burns Harbor. I am leaning definitely in favor of this. I think creating jobs and industry in our country is what we need. And it's great that it's coming to our small community, so I am in favor of that. However, my leading and main concern is the lighting situation currently at this property. I have some photographic evidence if you would like to see it. Yeah, these lights are just very disruptive.
Okay. I think we talked about that at our last meeting about. And our code does talk about the lights should just
Point down.
point down, not go out.
Again, I don't know if
and
anyone would like to
everything
see it.
else. Yeah. But you're taking this.
Yes, this is from my back door, shining into my
Yeah.
yard, into my home.
Yeah,
It's hard to enjoy my backyard,
I don't blame you right
it's hard to
there.
sleep at night.
Okay. And another thing we also talked about was sound out there. Loudspeakers, music, or whatever, we had talked about them before, because I think we had some complaints before from being out there. And maybe that was from another business, but we said we gotta protect it, and a lot of them didn't realize their deal goes to the other side of 94, it covers.
Yeah.
That's why you got your green cards there. Okay,
If I could add just one quick thing too, when Mr. Minor was here last time, one of the things we ordered him on, to make sure we understood the circumstances. These lights are to be pointed in towards the parking lot and down. That
Okay,
was one of the things that we emphasized, and he assured us.
so it'll be pointing south, not to interrupt you, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. it'll be
Well,
pointing
it's
south.
gonna go, that's gonna be down, it's gonna be away from 94.
Yeah.
So I wanted
Yeah, one of the things to remember, you get camp land in 1998. You get your new zoning ordinance on top of it. It's got those lighting requirements in it. Our job would then be to meet those requirements. So again, what you're looking at is down below, and then there's the ordinance says it can only go off your property so far
Oh,
from that. Yeah, and so our job will be to get that material, get it through the building commissioner so that we meet those criteria that you currently have in your zoning ordinance now, as
okay,
opposed to back in 1998.
okay, well, that's really good to hear.
Okay.
Sorry.
We have been thinking about, you guys over there.
Okay, wonderful. I also like to hear that we're supporting local charities in our school districts. Do you have any evidence to support these claims?
Yes, I don't have a database, but, boy, I would say off the top of my head, we, just today, we contributed $5,000 to a local charity in Bloomington, Illinois. I got board, that was board approved. I would hazard a guess and say we're probably 40 or 50 different charities, types, just groups we're familiar with in the community is who we support, and growing, of course, too. So I wish I had a dollar amount and anything like that, but yeah, we're very active in our community, with ball teams and different things like that too.
Well, that's still great to hear. Again, this is a small community. Any little bit helps.
Sure.
We have a lovely park that I would love to see get some revitalization, maybe get the baseball team going again over there. You know, so any little bit would be very, very helpful.
And one other thing that's important for parents is they do participate in an internship program. So if you're, for instance, familiar at high school, we've got a building trades program, but through Porter County Career Center, we've actually got interning capabilities. So the kids can go a half a day to school, a half a day to intern someplace. If you just saw the newspaper out at Sunset Hill Farm, they're gonna put out literally a massive sandbox. And the local, so Dario Walsh and those guys are bringing over front end loaders, backhoes, et cetera. So the kids that are interning in that construction setting, as an example, are gonna literally be able to do that on that site. They do that same abilities with the jobs that we have there, be it in the repair business from that perspective, in the paint booth business from that perspective. So those are opportunities that we have.
Excellent, thank you.
You done?
Yes.
You're done?
Yeah, Jerry Cassidy, 276 Lake Park. They're talking about a new building. What's gonna happen with the old one once they build it? The current one, are you guys gonna not use it as a shop?
No, I apologize. You probably haven't been here.
No.
We started solar.
First time.
Okay, so what it is, if you got old camp land, that's gonna be the one that's gonna be refurbished. We're gonna put in that ability to do the body shop. Immediately east between that building and the truck stop is gonna be the brand new building. It's probably gonna have over $7 million in investment. So it will have their Kenworth dealership, so used and new. It'll have parts. It'll also have repair capabilities. That means the back end will have the doors big enough to bring their semis in, do the work on the engines. So it's 2 steps. That new building is on its way. And again, what's really important, this thing just came up. We didn't realize that after Campland sold that it was gonna be shut down and the stuff taken to Elkhart. And all of a sudden it was for sale. And since they've done this in 3 other locations where they've got them either in one building, or in this case will be 2, that was the opportunity that they saw. So again, that building will be refurbished, about $1 million worth of refurbishment from that perspective.
Okay.
Brian McPherson, 272 Lake Park. I'm in favor of these guys. So I grew up on the south side of Chicago, not too far from the Ford plant over in Pegbush. The only issue I have is I was about 2-3 miles away from there. I can smell paint from there.
Okay, so this,
So that is my only concern with that. Is paint was gonna be in the RV place or the new?
so it's gonna be in the RV place,
Okay,
okay? And I wish I had, just a sec, no, okay, I didn't bring your, somebody,
Yeah,
why don't you show the young man the picture of this? Why don't you? I apologize, but if it's okay. We're gonna show you these two of them. So we're here, here's the one they're working on.
Okay.
But now we're gonna.
Volume.
That's what's installed.
okay.
Okay, so they'll have the EPA filtering system installed when they're purchased.
I 100% respect that, but I would imagine Ford has the exact same boots or something.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go right ahead.
How many cars is Ford painting a day?
I 100% understand that.
They're probably painting 500 cars or more a
Yeah.
day. He's gonna paint 5 a week,
Okay,
you know? And I did work in a shop that had a paint booth in there in Riverdale, Illinois.
yeah,
And they were in there constantly, EPA stuff about what they talked about. Where you getting rid of your solids, where you getting rid of your paint. Changing your filters every X amount of days and everything else. And it's just really, and I worked there for 20 years and couldn't smell anything.
okay.
All right?
Well, and also too, the air particulate standards have changed as far as what could be released into the air since probably when you were in the Ford plant. So you might not even smell anything at all. I still go over there once a week. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, good on that. Anybody else in favor or against?
I'm
No,
not sure
in
yet.
favor?
I'm not sure yet. I'm still
Okay.
kind of on the fence because after my questions, we'll see what I feel. My name is Natalie Story. I live at 262 Lake Park Road. My first question is about my safety, my environmental status. It's already hard enough with the highway to go back in our backyards and whatnot. This is where my mind is going, you made a connection between like the steel mills having the SB1, which is what you're asking for. And I know that I'm a huge fan of the steel mills because they put food on my table, but at the same time, they're dirty and unhealthy and environmentally, they're not nice to look at, they're not nice to breathe in. You have to have special PPE to go out there, they're supposed to at least. And so my very first concern is for my safety and my family's safety. What will this do, if anything, to our environment, even with like, I know you just said about the paint, but with like semis, let's be honest, they're disgusting. They put out lots of fumes. I understand that they are very necessary. I'm not trying to down them, but they do put out a lot of pollutants into the air, lots of smoke, lots of everything that gets the environmental area around it yucky as well. So my very first concern is with that, and how are you going to protect us from that affecting our lives? Because I have a garden outside, am I gonna be able to eat the food that is out there produced in my own yard because of the contaminants that would be in this? That's my first thought.
Okay, I mean, so, is it okay? Dan?
Go ahead.
Answer.
Yes, generally with body shop, repair, those trucks are down, they come in off the street and then they're parked until which time we get the parts ordered, then we just pull them into the shop. And then they're typically down for about 2 weeks. We pull them out front, parked, we call the customer, they just come and pick it out. So there's not gonna be negligible, there's gonna be negligible idle running or anything like that. The nature of the beast isn't having those trucks run for us. It's they don't get into the mechanicals at this body shop. It's just, fixing dents and different things or doing some frame straightening, things like that. So the trucks won't necessarily run any more than just pulling into a lot. And sometimes they just get towed in a lot and then leave it when they're finished.
Okay.
They won't just sit there and run or anything like that.
Okay, because if you go to like TA and you look, it's not a pretty picture. It makes me very sad for all the environmental stuff around it, our animals, everything, the air we breathe in. And that's right there, and now it's going to be basically the air that I'm breathing, and I do wanna just be concerned. Again, since you made like the steel mills, like that is where my thought, industrial is not the place I want in my backyard. Industrial is where you want the industries to be, but not in your backyard, breathing that in and going through that. So the other part is then, will this have any effect on our real estate and the cost of our house because of it being zoned with this special thing? Does it make our property values go down, up? You know, usually when you see those, the neighborhoods by these types of places are usually lower income or lower statute, and a lot of these places by industrial areas, so I'm very concerned about that.
I'd like to answer that with, I was in real estate for 20 years, okay? There won't be any effect on your real estate property with them going in. If they were the only person going in over there, you'd have a problem. But with what you already have there, that truck stop, you know, all the car dealers, that's already there. They're not gonna make an impact. And he's right. They're idling. They're not gonna be doing like the truck stop in the wintertime when them guys run, every truck out there runs all night long. They're not gonna be doing that. So the effect on your real estate is gonna be minimal, if any at all.
And that's guaranteed, I mean,
Well, I can't
what, I mean, like the
I
highway
can't
is,
guarantee
if you've
anything.
lived in there or you've tried to do it when you have the highway, that's a big no-no. People are like, as soon as they hear it, they're like, oh, no, I don't want
Okay,
to
well, that
live
highway's
here.
not going anywhere.
I
that's all.
understand that, so I'm saying if
So what I'm
you turned
saying
it
is-
to not residential to a special industrial industry or setting, I'm my
Well,
curiosity, I tried to look
Burns
up
Harbor,
on the internet
Burns
to
Harbor
find
is
out.
an industrial town, we all know that. And what's here is not gonna affect in anything dramatically. Again, their impact's gonna be much less than that truck stop already is. So, because they're constantly running out there, they're constantly spilling fuel out there, they're doing all kinds of things. These guys, on the other hand, won't be doing that. It'd be a car dealership, I'm just using the word car dealership, but it's a car dealership and they fix trucks, that's all they're gonna do.
Just to clarify too, this is a use variance, not a rezone, just.
That's what I could not I could not find, I tried to do my research so that I didn't have to come in here and ask a ton of questions, but I couldn't find out what SD1 meant. I could not find any information, so it kind of left me wondering, what does it mean and what does it mean for all of us? That's all I wanted to know. If we're safe, I'm cool. I just wanna be safe. That's all I care about.
You can go online and look up, and it'll bring the code book right on up. You just punch into it and go down through, and look at it. It's what, chapter 14, 15, and everything in through there. And it'll explain, it's got charts, it's got everything else, what you can put in there, what you can't put in there. For every district in, yeah, and everything else.
Quick follow-up question to talk about the environmental stuff, to speak on that. Is there anything different between your business and like the other two automobile body shops with that quarter mile Gerber collision, you know, across the street?
No, outside of,
So,
outside of just bigger trucks, it's generally the same concept that the dealership will be doing mechanical repairs and at the body shop will be pounding out, you know, dings and dents and that sort of thing.
So
Just on bigger equipment.
yeah, so there's no difference.
No.
Okay.
And there's no blast booth, so that's not even there.
So. Okay,
Okay,
Hi, I'm Joe Story, I live at 262 Lake Park. Again, I'm on the fence, everything sounds on the level. A concern was about the noise. I mean, eventually it's gonna be a repair facility, correct?
Sorry, no, so it'll be a body shop, the RV dealership.
The RV
Printed to a body
So
shop,
the new building you're gonna build is going to be repaired?
full service dealership, yeah, it'll be repair parts, new and used trucks.
Yeah, that's about a
That's-
separate issue. not this issue.
that's a separate issue right there. They've already got their stuff for the new building and everything else. This is, tonight is for the body shop in the old campground.
Okay, so this is not with the new one that's gonna be going up?
No,
So it's already done.
So Greg, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this vacant parcel between the pilot
Right.
and I guess what everyone's referring to as camp land, they've already purchased that.
Right, and
It's
just,
already been approved.
just so you know, we came about 2.5 years ago to get a use variance to do the sales, parts, and service indoors in that building, and it was granted. The reason it hasn't gone up as quick is because that parcel had more wetland than we would have originally identified. And so it took about a year with the Army Corps of Engineers to identify the wetland and mark the area. So it's gonna be what we're gonna call the north end of that lot is where the new development's gonna go. If you look kind of center south, you're gonna see trees, you're gonna see a low area that gets all the drainage. That's gonna stay. And so that new building, they were good enough to give us the relief so we could buy it. And we got stuck with the Army Corps of Engineers. And so the other thing to remember on that new building is before it can get a permit from the building commissioner, all that material goes downstate. It's called Indiana Homeland Security, and it's in essence, fire is their big deal from that perspective there. And so those prints go down, get reviewed, changed, and then that set of prints comes to the building commissioner. So that's the process on that new building. This one will be similar, but we got the existing structure, it's what we're gonna put in.
Okay,
Sure.
so the new building is going to be at the camp land property?
No, it's gonna be right next door between that and the truck stop. It's a big, take a look if you.
So
Here.
they purchased this already, this was approved. They're putting a new building in here.
If you go down to 20, you look where the time is right there.
Yeah.
Right in
So
behind that.
what tonight's hearing is about is the existing property to get a use variance. To use this, so they're gonna combine this vacant parcel and this parcel with their whole business.
And this is the wetland you're talking about?
Yeah, so this is the wet area here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a pond there, but it's not a home.
I apologize.
No.
But it helps the, helps the
Let's get it all-
homeowner, well, it helps the homeowner see
Right.
the parcel.
We'll get it all out in the open here, we're not trying to,
Okay,
I didn't, got another question?
no, that covers it for
That
now.
covers it, right?
Appreciate it.
Anybody else speaking in favor? If not, I'm gonna close that part. Anybody opposed? All right, I'm gonna close that part and we'll,
I was just gonna say, closing, I was just gonna point out, I know there's questions about body shop work and everything, but I think I heard hours were gonna be 7 to 5, and on Saturday, maybe 7 to noon, so it doesn't sound like there's gonna be work being done at all. You might have some sales, but not, and all the body shop work's gonna be inside, correct? It's not gonna be outside.
Yes, yeah, you got the hours right. It rarely will work Saturdays. It's very up to.
And again, we're talking about noise crossing. How many, 4 lanes of interstate highway?
yeah. And it's gonna be opened up to the board now. And we have some specific stuff which we're gonna ask. And we've talked about it already, so just listen up to what, like, in the front part, there's no red trucks out there facing your guys' side. It's all gonna be on the US 20 side and just stuff like that. And then it still will be all contained in a open area and everything else, and the scrap. And if you look at this, how neat this stuff is here, right? So, all right, we closed the public hearing. We're gonna open it up. Got some questions, guys?
This 200 feet, it's called a green space.
Right.
There's nothing gonna be there, right? Just green space, right?
So again, I chose that arbitrarily.
Right.
So between the road and that privacy fence, green space, we'll do a little landscaping from that perspective. Remember, you've got that existing Lazy Days sign, Ellis Campland, and that's gonna give us an opportunity then to have some signage up by the road to say this is CT Trucks. And so as you hit Lions Drive, you're gonna either go body shop side or you're gonna go parts, service, et cetera, on the other side. But all of that takes place off of 20. One other thing to know, just so everybody knows, we've sent material to the state of Indiana, and we've got a little bit of work to do on that D-cell, X-cell lane that's on the north side of 20, so that we can handle a truck coming in from that perspective.
Jim?
The noise is not to be that horse, on nice weather days, are the bays gonna be open where they can hear the sound like out, or are they gonna be closed, or how's that usually work?
Yes, so on nice days, our normal dealership had 2 bays open, I just drove past it on the way up here, so they will be open, but there isn't, out of the body shop now, there isn't a lot of noise, like you see it more or less like with the air, air ratchets and that sort of thing, you won't hear any of that really. It's a much more quiet environment comparatively to say like a auto repair facility or something like that. So there isn't nearly the same noise level because you just don't have the same type of work going on. But yeah, to answer your question, they were 73 degrees. The folks had the doors open. They enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, it's all.
Yeah, they've already covered it, fencing in my question.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, too. Just off from the Highway 20 side too, as far as work in process, finished product, green space, I mean, I think the adjacent property, again, that's a separate ordeal than the night, but that's a unique opportunity because I obviously spent a lot of time with the Army Corps, having to mitigate or come up with a resolution around that. I think it's a relatively unique opportunity. I think I could see a good expectation on the campground and lazy days, adjacent property that we're talking about tonight, so.
Anybody else? All right, the only other thing I think the major things we gotta hit on is lighting. Lighting, I think noise, no loudspeakers out there that, going across. Another thing is towards the 94 sign, there'll only be finished trucks
Right.
out there, so there might be trucks sitting, a truck or 2 sitting out there, but they're all gonna be nice and shiny and not cracked up or anything else. And we've talked about the scrap and everything, and every other place I've seen it, if they do have a dog house for the front and everything, they're all in a row, they're not just thrown out in a pile. Every so often, guys come down, other truck places come down because it's cracked and they don't wanna use it. They'll come and get it, fix it up, and they'll sell it, and they sell the scrap. Another thing is Safety Clean comes in and gets all the solvent, all the oil, all the paint and everything else. And
they do have it, just so you know, and again, it's good company policy, they've got an independent third party that they hire and set them off into the building, and their job is to identify first the OSHA issues right out of the gate, but then any other issues that are a detriment to how they run their business. And again, guys, part of that's an insurance situation, not sugarcoat it, but that's the concept, but they do that on all their facilities. It's an independent third party, it's not an in-house people to give them those reports to keep that place from having any trouble.
Mr. Billington, do you have anything to add?
I have no questions.
Okay.
You guys are very thorough.
Okay, well, we try to be, we all live here too, so it's for our benefit to do for whatever. Okay. We're all ready to go. What's your?
I'll make a motion, we approve the use variance.
I'll second it. I have a motion and a second.
With the conditions that.
With the conditions,
Yeah.
the ones
You
I'm sorry,
already- you
all the
already have.
conditions.
Yes, that's okay, but just-
Right.
And everything else. I have a motion and a second to accept it with the conditions that we have. And I'll take a roll call, Jill.
Travis Dunlap,
Yes.
Bob Crecilius,
Yes.
Jim Meeks,
Yes.
Timothy Meunier,
Yes.
Bernie Paparad.
Yes.
Well, we thank you very much for
Okay.
that.
One thing I want to do is thank you people,
Right.
because it's one of the first meetings we've had here that somebody showed up, showed an interest. Please,
I'll stop by more often.
come anytime, but it.
If you do, you made it on the board.
Yeah.
If you
Got nothing else going on?
If you wanna serve on the board, let them, just call Jane in there and she'll get you fixed up someplace, because there's quite a few boards out
I
there.
regret that, sir.
I guarantee you that. Okay. I wanna thank you guys for being so thorough.
Yeah.
Having it all done, it was easy to work with, we didn't have to pry stuff out of you and everything else, and it was.
And you guys have to know from talking to these guys, if you saw the other ones, those are buildings that literally they built them to include the body shop.
Okay.
That wasn't what we're gonna do here on the other project. This just came up. They closed. Next thing you know, they're calling us saying, hey, we got this piece of property for sale, about, 11, 12, 13 acres, got a building. And we're like, we have to have a chance to do this again in northern Indiana, because again, Peru and Normal, kind of far
Yeah.
west of us. And they're servicing currently, parts are coming out of Mokina. So they got a chance to put parts here and do their service. So we do appreciate very much the opportunity.
And when you get parts here, that also means people that sell the parts,
Yeah.
people that
Right.
counter person and everything else. So everything they can do here will build up and
Right.
help the community here also.
Right, and we thank you very much for that temporary use, because it really,
Yeah.
they get a
that's
foot,
it.
they get a foot in the door. Looking for people who can run the counter, can understand how to do parts and inventory. They got an opportunity to get started, that sign can say CIT trucks. All of a sudden, people know you're here, from that perspective.
Yeah, www.cittrucks.com, that's where we'll post our jobs, and, just if you know anybody be interested in that, please have them look at the website and apply, because we'll be coming real soon.
Great.
Okay. No old business. New business. The planning commission at our last meeting changed the meeting time. Would you guys be interested in going along with that at what, 6 o'clock instead of 7 o'clock? That'll get us in and out of here.
Works for me.
I have no.
No qualms.
No problems. And I'm retired. That's.
This year's
Yeah.
There's two of us.
I know that.
I don't care, make it 4 o'clock. I don't care.
So, remember, the next time you don't want the meeting, it's to be an hour early.
You know what we can do? We can do like the county does and do it at 10 where nobody shows up.
Yeah.
But Clay knows.
During the price of
Clay knows all that goes on.
Yeah, the county does all the meetings in the morning,
Nobody can come.
so nobody's there.
That's it.
Convenient.
Okay. Good, the order of the community.
We need a motion for
We probably will. Joe, call, roll call.
What do you want?
Oh, take a motion.
To move it to 6
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Yes. Are you okay with that?
I'll make a motion, we do that.
I'll make a second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Bob Casilius,
Yes.
Jim Meeks.
Yes.
Timothy Meunier.
Yes.
Travis Dunlap,
Okay.
Bernie Popper.
Yes.
Jill, I would
Okay,
say,
so-
I think all of the meetings for the year usually noticed in January, so we'll just need to update the notices to Chester Tribune and post it here.
Okay.
Okay. Good, the order. Anything coming before? Anything? All right. No announcements? We don't have anything on the agenda so far for next
We
month?
do not.
Okay, we'll let you guys know if we do have some. We don't meet every month unless we have business.
Okay.
So,
So don't show up March 26th.
No.
You might be by yourself.
You don't know yet.
You can sit in the parking lot if you like.
They won't know yet.
Let me make a pot of coffee.
See, the other,
You
the
can
other
check the
board,
town website.
The other boards meet regularly. We don't, we only have to, when we have this.
okay. I need another motion. I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Travis Dunlap,
Yes.
Bob Priscillius,
Yes.
Jim Meeks, Timothy Meunier,
Yes.
Bernie Paparad.
Yes. Okay, thanks, everybody.
Thank